Hi.
We're going to start a series focused on relationships, common issues, problems, and as we go through these things, we're going to talk about how we deal with them. Like, for example,
Trust, fears, damage, trauma, things you deal with in a relationship. And pretty much the way we're starting now is to give you kind of a slight breakdown of the basic dynamics of our relationship. And the way we're kind of approaching this is not we're professionals and we know this, but more like, oh, this is how we do it. And if it helps us, maybe it helps someone else out there. And we also plan on sharing how we don't do it right sometimes. So it's going to be balanced. First of all, how we met.
we didn't start out like as friends first. We just met online. That's it.
Good old dating apps.
Not that cute.
We were cute though. So we went on a date and we kind of clicked and then we started seeing each other and kept doing it. And here we are. That's how we met. We're kind of keeping it short. The story gets old fast.
And we've already talked about it.
And if you didn't see it, you can watch our Q&A somewhere on the screen. I think the first thing in the basics of our relationship is communication. We are two people that like communicating. And it was a pretty big point from the get-go. Like, hey, let's talk through things. It's not like healthy, perfect. We definitely fuck up communication. Good communication isn't that you never say the wrong thing, but instead it's that you know when you didn't. Being able to apologize, but also being able to kind of demand the same on the level of communication.
One of the things I like about our communication is we fight and then usually we start resolving it like the second we finish fighting. One time we went out for dinner and halfway through the dinner we started fighting, and by the time the dinner was over it was completely resolved.
That's actually very true. There was like a silent moment, angry eating.
Yeah.
But by the time we walked out of the restaurant,
Totally
we were
fine.
like holding hand, happy again.
Because we just start talking about it right away.
Yeah, because everyone kind of wants it. We're always told like do communication, but then we have this toxic thing where we don't like sharing our little weaknesses and vulnerabilities. And so a lot of the times we'll hide it. We won't say it. We won't bring something up. And the importance of that is that instead you like take away the ego and vulnerability thing and you just talk, hey, this hurt me. But being able to talk about it and adjust on the spot is definitely one of the good things in our relationship and one of the things we challenge a lot.
Another challenge is like I find this sometimes I get kind of petty and I want to like punish someone by not telling them why I'm hurt or like even trying to resolve it. I'm like, I'm angry, so I'm not talking. So I'm trying to like be like, okay, just let them in and talk.
Yeah, we do that a lot. And I think maybe you relate to that too, because like it happens a lot. I've done it to people. I've done it to her and she's done it to me. But what's good about it is we then catch each other doing it and then we go, let's not do that. Like, let's both have this respect for ourselves and for each other. And I think that's like a lot of what helps us in communication and why we have good ones. Because we're not perfect whatsoever. We fight about stupid things and about major things. But then we're good.
One of the things that makes me stop being petty is just remembering like I'd rather be not fighting than fighting. Like at the end of the day, fighting, I don't like it either.
It's tiring.
So why would I waste my time fighting when I could not be fighting?
Another really good thing in our dynamic and our relationship is how much fun we have. Not that we do a ton of activities, but we're just kind of two people that like fucking around a bit. You know, if you're looking at a movie or a show, it's always a relationship where the two people bicker or say the stupidest, horrible things. That's the good relationship, right? I find finding the person you're so comfortable with that you can say something stupid like that, so out of the blue, so like not appropriate, whatever. But neither of us takes ourselves too seriously. We actually don't really enjoy people that do. Even that, like we're open about the fact that we're not fans of people. We're just like, you know, let's be ourselves, let's be true, let's have fun, let's fuck around.
Yeah.
Because the whole point is to have a good time. Fun keeps things spicy. Like a lot of the times when we're talking, if she'll say something that I know will hurt a bit, you know, like jealous or something. We have this thing where she's bi. So a lot of the times
she's bi.
where
I
she's
am
bi. And so a lot of the times we point out like the hot women around us. And we happen to have similar tastes. But then she's also bi, meaning there's attractive guys around, and her type is actually not at all what I think is a hot guy. But a lot of the times, instead of like I could be hurt by her checking out a guy or whatever, I'll be like, you're fucking checking him out, huh? Just being able to say, oh fuck it, make a joke out of this instead of getting serious with it.
No like weird petty jealousies.
Keeping it fun is definitely one of the important sides of our relationship dynamics, which does bring us to conflict resolution.
We definitely make an effort to resolve things quickly.
If you're going in with that defense side, which is scary, right? Nowadays, it's easy to hook up. It's easy to do the kind of dating, not dating, the situationships and all. It's easier to stay protected and just hook up. No one nowadays is like, hey, I want to fall in love and be in the best relationship right now with this person. It's usually I'm afraid until, oh fuck, I guess I have feelings. And so a lot of that comes with like building these walls and kind of holding back. You're acting scared or just not going there. So conflict resolution for us kind of comes from that I don't need to defend myself from this person. Because if you do, then there is conflict. Then conflict doesn't get resolved as well because you don't want to fix it. And that's usually what makes us move on to the next hookup. But we're talking about relationships. Taking away that idea of I need to protect myself from this person has been really helpful in conflict resolution.
I've had like tension points, like, oh, I can't talk about that thing. Or like you're always watching yourself, or like, oh, we're not gonna go there. And my goal is to not have any of those. Even obviously the things we do fight about, I'm not gonna bring them up all the time, but it's not like I can never talk about that or something really bad will happen.
Yeah, she definitely won't not mention it. But that's the thing too. On my side, I try not to say like you can't talk about that or I don't want you to talk about that. I would rather her feel okay to talk about anything than feel like she has to protect some words, especially if you're aiming for a long relationship. I don't want to feel like she has to walk on eggshells ever. And kind of the same on my end. I'll say things instead of not saying things. My reflex, instead of the having points I can't talk about, is that I will be quiet. Like I'll just be like, all right, I'll shut up and not say anything. Instead, that I'll usually just go for it. I'll be like, okay, well actually I will mention it. Let's talk about it. We're two strong personalities. Even if she says she doesn't have one, because she matches me, meaning she has a fucking massive personality. Instead of being cocky or closed off or like big ego, get your ego out of the way. That is the best way to resolve conflict. We've had like the same argument about 20 times, but every time we've gotten a layer deeper about it. I'm actively thinking, oh, like what are my thoughts about this? Have they changed? Will they never change? This constant re-questioning definitely helps.
We definitely have some really important things that we both believe. I think probably my number one is the vegan thing. This is the first vegan person I've dated. It's literally life-changing. It takes away so many arguments, so many potential arguments, and it's such a like central belief for both of us. That's a huge thing.
Yeah, same here. I've been with one person before that was vegan. It was actually another type of thing where that was a source of argument because my vegan wasn't their type of vegan, healthy to a certain degree, and they were judging my food like, oh, you're missing this. And I was like, but with us, it's been good. We've been good at finding the middle, like finding the food we both enjoy, or going to places where one can have something they enjoy, or just doing like one day is me, one day is you. Having similar values on the big things you care about, life-changing, because the amount of partners that we've both had where you're just fighting about the food thing. Well, why won't you have meat? And we've had all these arguments like hundreds of times now.
Just for me, what bothered me was like knowing in the back of my head that this person was okay with something that I was so against. It was a little bit difficult.
That being said, we have values where we fight. At the end of the day, you won't get like a perfect combination, and if you do, there's a catch somewhere.
One of the things we have different values on is drugs. I'm a bit more open, accepting, willing to try.
And I have like a personal history with drugs that makes it difficult.
Which I don't have.
Yeah. So we have like a very different background when it comes to that, like even history with it. And so that is a value difference and a source of argument. But that's one of those things where it's a value, but we're also able to still talk about it. I think it's good to know how to bend without breaking.
Yeah, like for me, that's something I can be with someone. Like it's not like a fundamental part of my moral values.
It's almost hard to point out the challenges of values because with us, it's been good. Like our values have been met with the other person.
Yeah.
Like when it's not something you believe in, it's still easy to go, but I accept it for you. But it just so happened like we're both lucky. She's not religious at all. I'm atheist now. I was born, raised Christian. We mostly fight about other shit. Whose For You page is best and what type of video is actually quality. Things like that.
Or even which platform is quality.
Oh my God. TikTok, okay?
Instagram?
No. It's hard to find like the issues with values because we're kind of lucky this time around. It's more like when you find someone with similar values to you, you start to understand all the times you settled for less.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's some levels of settling that are okay and that are worth it. So it's always a question of you. But if you find someone where like a lot of the values align and you're happy and you can settle for some,
it's pretty great.
If none of your values are respected, if they're not respected now, you have to do something for that direction to be better. Otherwise,
cause a lot of fights.
Just make sure to laugh between arguments. If we're both feeling iffy, like I still won't be afraid to make a joke. It'll lighten the mood a bit. That's pretty much the basic of our relationship. We approach it not from like knowing plenty. This is like my longest relationship ever. There's so much learning happening. But if you have any questions or a certain point that you'd like to know our take on, by all means, write it down in the comments. We'll give it a read. We'll definitely consider every one that fits for us that we have an answer for. If you have something that you'd like to hear our take on, write it down. Feel free to subscribe. Like the video. Press that cute little button.
Goodbye.
Bye.